this.
God damn it. You think I'd figure it out after...
Do you guys realize I've been doing this shit since 1999?
Yep.
But was that a belch and a yep at the same time?
Did you hear that?
That was cool.
Yep.
That was really cool. I
Thanks.
wish I would have recorded that.
Damn it. Jackson probably did.
I
You
did.
You did.
Jackson heard it. I thought you were saying he recorded it. I'm like,
On the
I
Richter
don't think
scale.
Jackson would
Yeah.
record something like that. He's not that desperate.
Why do I have this?
That's your paperwork that you left behind.
Oh, we're keeping paperwork now. Is there a file here that can I? Do you have a file
Yeah,
cabinet?
I just leave the shit on the bar, and hopefully you guys won't scribble on my bar.
I know. I need a magazine.
Well, hey there. The Packfiller
I thought he was
podcast
gonna
is about
change
to begin.
this.
You can always follow the show through Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook if you're still into that sort of thing. The show is streamed live every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific on our Packfiller Productions YouTube channel, as well as on the Podbean app. You can call the show directly from Podbean and chat along in the discussion on both platforms. Now let's get to the Packfiller podcast. You guys can all tell that Jack's here. Everybody knows when Jack's here.
You know, I've been listening to the past couple shows. I wasn't here, and Pat talks over that.
But
And then he rips me one.
I know when the important.
Well, you're the
messages are
host,
being
well, so
said.
I mean,
yeah, this is my playground. I'm
You
gonna
can do whatever the fuck
fucking
you
take
want.
my toys and lock the door. Before we kick off, let's give thanks to Gooder Sunglasses. Jackson himself approves of the newest model, the VRG, for riding. Jackson, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they're. I love them. They're great. They are my riding glasses now.
It's the ones with the lenses all the way across. They look like the Blues Brothers from 2021. Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly.
Get thee to gooder.com, grab a pair or 6, and if you are Team Packfiller, if you are a member of Team Packfiller, I'm not going to say this after this week because it's over. The pledge drive, if we were public radio, is over after this week. So if you are a Packfiller member, there's a pair going to you in the mail next week in May's swag box. So get on to the website, click Club Packfiller, and join as soon as humanly possible because it ends May 1st. Also, big thanks to Giant Bicycles. If it has 2 wheels, Giant makes it. If it has a purpose to go fast, have fun, and feel great, Giant makes it. Get to your nearest Giant dealer today or check them out at giantbikes.com. So, without further ado, let's do this. See, I'm not saying anything.
You've obviously never played the silence game.
You know, it's funny. This is the first time this doesn't come in hot.
I know. I was just turning it up, too. That's the first time I'm not saying, God, the theme's hot, isn't it? Well, in my opinion, this classic season is over. Although we have the fall races as well as Paris-Roubaix in October, hopefully. So let's take a moment to raise our glasses and thank Madonna del Giussalo for giving us a great spring campaign, right? I hope you guys did that at home or in your office cubicle or driving down the road, wherever you might be. Welcome to the Packfiller. I'm Pat Bulger. We are live on Podbean and YouTube. And with me is the best panel of cycling pundits since Winning Magazine closed its doors. When did Winning end?
90s.
Was it?
Some part in the 90s.
God, I fucking love that magazine. It was
Yeah.
the best. So, his only weaknesses are hamstring cramps and his newfangled shit hatred, Mr. Paul Main.
Yep, that's me.
Next, his only weaknesses are swear words and a tender knee that requires CBD, Jackson Bulger.
That's pretty true, yeah.
I'm not too bad, yeah. And I'm pretty much 100% on these. His only weaknesses are shiny things and a second home that requires a working shower, Jack Broadhead.
He won't even respond.
Hey,
It
works.
Me, and finally to make it just a perfection quadfecta, whatever the fucking that word would be for, fecta.
Quadfecta.
My only weaknesses is that I care too much. Hi, everybody. I'm Pat Bulger.
Jesus.
Queefecta.
No,
Queefecta?
no,
That's not the same
That
thing.
sounds bad. That sounds like a swear word,
no good.
isn't it? I always thought that was a bad thing.
It is.
Gentlemen, this is the last show that will feature Jackson remotely broadcasting as a college undergraduate. I just want to take a moment for that.
seriously, yeah, way to make it this far. Huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's hot. That is hot. That is a loud sound
It
effect.
deserves a hot.
It did. It did deserve it really loudly.
Because he's
So-
going to be a graduate.
Yeah, he is.
Learned.
Jackson Bulger's the end's in sight, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, it's coming here soon. Feels weird. I have said this a billion times, but you go to school beginning like 3 years old, and now, as of, not to announce my own birthday, but as of tomorrow, I'll be 22, and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do after I go to school. Or after I don't have to go to school anymore, so it's gonna feel weird being a real adult.
Okay, but there's a lot to digest there. Number one, we should all say, because we aren't going to be able to say this in on a show. So happy birthday, man! Happy
Cheers.
22nd birthday.
Happy
So
birthday.
yeah, to
yeah.
to you and yours, on.
Thanks, guys.
What are you drinking there, Sparky?
Not your father's root beer.
Oh, you are. You're drinking.
Oh,
he's
he's
drinking.
got- yeah.
He's drinking the hard root beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Boy's not fucking around.
Maybe when he turns 21, he can drink real beer.
22.
22 is what.
Yeah, he'll drink
22,
real beer. Yeah. But as I said in past shows, do you remember what you drank when you were 21 to 22?
Yes, I do.
What was it?
I
Fess
was
up.
drinking import beers down at Spokane Grape and Grain. It's Spokane. You remember that?
Steadily?
Yeah.
That's the only place, because I'd go to the college kegers, and we were drinking like Lucky Lager
Yeah,
and Budweiser.
Bud Light.
And I did have a kegerator with my roommates with Budweiser. And I can't even handle
See?
that now.
See? Okay,
Yeah.
so let he without sin cast the first stone. You were a terrible fucking person.
Yeah, I
also
drank
at one
Budweiser.
point in time. Yeah. Jackson's at least not doing that. I mean, at least he's staying away from Bud and Bud Light.
Yeah.
Right, Jackson?
He likes a lime. Bud Light lime.
You don't.
No, I'm
you
just
never
kidding.
drink Bud Light.
No, yeah, I stay away from that. I'm not the biggest lover of beer. I like ciders a lot,
Yeah.
as we know, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you with a Huckleberry one the other day, and it kind of. I cried.
Pretty good.
I cried a little bit. I cried a little bit. So, what's left on the plate for the graduation plan here? What's on it?
yeah. So coming up, I have my finals, and once that's done, then who the hell knows? Taking a summer in the situation that I am in, so that'll be nice just to have that time, and then we will no longer live here in this lovely area of Portland, Oregon after the summer. So
Yeah, you
we'll be
guys.
coming back. What?
No, go ahead.
Well, yeah, we'll be coming back to your neck of the woods. So that's all I really have planned so far. Yeah, a little freaky, but exciting.
It's so weird. I remember walking out of my last college class going, "That's it. What now?" Well, I mean, is somebody supposed to go, "Oh, cool. Here you go. Here's your ticket to adulthood. This is where you park. This is where you are over here." And suddenly, by the way, you have all-knowing clarity, and you're able to figure out your entire life, and your finances are good, and soon you're going to have a family and a picket fence and 2.3 children. That person never showed up.
Kind of the same feeling when you have your first kid.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, take it home. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
crap.
what-
Well, this
Where's
is
the
real.
manual here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's been riding this last week? I'm moving on to the podcast. Who's been riding this week? Jack already dropped his
Drop my pin, drop my head.
quit.
Yeah.
Jack, do you
Just
want to go
been
first?
busy.
Have you
Yeah.
ridden it? Have
no,
you ridden it?
fuck
all?
no.
Have you ran?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
trying to-
We don't want any
I'm
explanation.
trying to stay fit.
Okay.
And I'm on a diet right now.
Yeah.
A no alcohol diet.
He's
That's athletic.
he's enjoying an athletic brewing company beer. Right
I am
now.
enjoying it actually. I like it.
You did have some honest critique when
Well,
we started out, and that's completely
it's
fair.
not- but I'm enjoying it. I'm more than you guys are enjoying your beer right now. So
Because it's a race. Jackson, how was your ride week?
It was good. Like I said last week, I got my first round of the shot.
Oh yeah.
and I went out the day after, and my arm hurt a little, quite quite a lot. And I don't know if the listener or you guys know this feeling, but you ever have it where you get a shot and your arm hurts so bad you feel kind of sick because of it?
Ooh.
That's kind of how I felt. It was just like the pain was like kind of a little overwhelming at some point, so it just hurt a little bit. But then after that ride, I did another one and I felt a lot better. Did some sprints, and the weekly ride for this upcoming Tuesday will be covering that ride. So,
okay.
Yeah, but I've been able to get out 2 times I guess Wednesday and Thursday. So
2.
Wednesday and Friday.
2 Wednesday and Friday? Okay. So you're at 2. Jax is leading the charge at 2 rides per week. Pauline, how was your ride week?
I would be tied, but I screwed up because Saturday we decided.
God damn it!
Yeah, so it's supposed to rain.
No, I'm not mad at Paul. I'm not mad at Paul. I'm mad at
that raised his head up. He's like, he wanted to see a fight.
He's not mad at somebody else.
Did he tell you to go to the wrong place?
No.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Right.
We both kind of wrote Saturday off because we were supposed to get a half inch to 3/4 inches of rain all day. And so I already made my plans, told my wife what I was going to do. I was going to work around the house, and I had all these things halfway through. And I'm looking outside, and it's barely even spitting.
Yeah.
And then when I'm going to rush through and get it done, what happens? I get everything done, and it's pouring.
About 3 o'clock.
Pouring
Yeah,
down rain.
the afternoon was rough.
Yeah,
The morning was time to ride.
So then I started
If I
another
were to
project, which I needed. I started another project since it was raining.
Sure.
I needed to finish it in the morning, and then by the time I finished my next little project around the house, it was 3 o'clock, and I said, "Screw it!" I just did a short little 23 miler.
Oh, so Sunday you got some in?
I got out.
Okay. Yeah. I got 1 weekday ride in on Wednesday. I rode on Wednesday, rode outdoors, and I went out and did my South Hill loop, and I'm trying to go fast on the hills. Well, fast for me on the hills. and so I did that. And then on once a week, I've been trying to do a strengthening video and some form of yoga, because my shoulders, I gotta admit the fact that my shoulders are not going to get any better unless I do something about it. So I've been doing shoulders and core and back. Gabriel Benjamin has some stuff out there that I was using, and I was using some Sufferfest stuff too that was really good. And I feel sore for 2 to 3 days after doing this stuff, and that's not the yoga, but that's after doing the strengthening stuff, which is telling me that I'm probably doing stuff I should be doing. I'm muscular sore, like I got a good workout in, so it was nice. Unfortunately, the weekend was basically the same as you. I agreed that I would help. Well, not help. I would start putting in my countertops, and so I got one half of them cut and stained / sealed, and now I'm going to put them in, and then the other half I got to figure out here too. But we got all that done. But wife kept looking at me going, "You said you're going to fucking do this."
Yeah.
When you were building your studio, you went downstairs and did it. You cranked it out. I saw you getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to put another coat onto the top of the bar, but you won't put in our kitchen countertops because you say it's going to rain. So yeah, she's right, and so I had to do that. There we go, Jack. Last time you were on the show, we had a challenge that we were all going to say. We were going to pick some events that we were going to do for this year. And dude, I'm not throwing you under the bus. You're not in trouble or anything.
I'm not in trouble.
It's okay. It's okay. We know you had a party at the house this weekend, Jack.
I
and
did.
we just want to talk to you about it and
Party
let
at
you
the
know we're
house.
very disappointed. No, I'm giving you the father conversation that people would have.
Somebody say a bad word. You're drinking at the same time.
No, just
Yeah, I still haven't figured out what the hell I'm doing with. How do you pick goal races when you're not riding? You feel like
you pick them. And
You
then
pick 'em late?
and then, no, you pick them and then you start riding.
You got August.
I got all the month of August.
Yeah.
On me. Yeah.
August is the
State
River City.
championship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's 3 races there. Well, you could do 2, the road race, but the crit would be good because that's state championships.
The pool,
or district.
the
district.
pond. We
Oh,
have
it
a
is?
pond and
Oh,
a
it is.
pool. The pond would be good for you.
What is that course?
I'll show you.
The crit?
Well, crit course is out of Buck Knives.
Where?
Buck Knives in Post Falls.
For those who listen to
heard
this
that.
show who have no idea what
Yeah.
we're talking about, it is actually around a manufacturer of a company that makes knives, buck knives, and they're cool, badass camping and utility knives, and they have them for preems. So they give
shit.
away weapons for
Wow,
preems.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you could do that, and if you did the
Yeah.
time trial, that would be all 3 in one weekend, Jack.
You like time
I
trials?
fucking hate time trials. Sorry, Jackson.
So in other words, you're not
I'm
putting
still not
yourself
ready.
down.
I'm not ready
Wow.
to tell you.
Wow.
Nope. You know, we were gonna do it. Weren't we gonna do that at my house?
Vance
during
Creek. Vance Creek is in. They have another one, I think, in June or July.
Okay, that one.
Let's do that.
Okay.
That's one for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
I want to go out to Vance Creek.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
in July?
July or June, I can't remember.
It'd be nice and 52 degrees
it's
and
raining.
sunny. Yeah.
If it's,
Instead of 40
Yeah,
degrees
it'd
and
be
raining.
48 and raining.
if it's
Yeah.
early July, Nightwing and I are out because we're going to Belgian Waffle Ride, which is 17th, right, Jay? Something like that. 16th, 17th.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, so no commitment from
Nope.
Jack. Wow.
Just start with me.
Vance Creek.
Yeah, Vance Creek.
Yeah.
Just start with
Yeah,
me.
Okay, I got just one.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's one. Paul, let's get a recap. What were yours?
Well, Vance Creek will be the first
Vance
one.
Creek.
And then the RC3, which is
RC3,
a
which is
local
2-stage.
Omnium. Yeah.
That should be a
Well, it's 3
one.
stages.
That should be a 1.
Mhm.
That
Okay.
weekend should be 1 race.
But I want it to be a 1, whether you do all 3 or 1, because then he'll do the crit.
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
'Cause
we
it's
have a
District 2.
lighter standard for Jack.
So I'll do all 3 of that, and then everybody grab the glass, turn to bloom.
Oh, yeah.
Ba-ba. There's more in the fridge, Jack.
Yeah, I'm gonna have more.
Okay. So that's your recap. Jack, we're going to just stay away from. Jackson, Bulger, what was yours to recap? What were your 3 events?
I think I'm going to do some races here in Portland, some road races, some crits that they have at Portland International Raceway. And then I'm obviously going to do some of the Wednesday night mountain bike races there in
You are,
Spokane.
yeah.
And then, as we know, I'm doing the Belgian Waffle Ride in July.
That's all 3. Yeah. I'm doing Belgian Waffle for sure. I'm doing probably all the Wednesday night mountain bike races, and I'll talk about those here in a second. I am also doing the River City Omnium, but I'm only doing 2. I'm probably not going to do the time trial. I don't.
It's
think
only
I'm-
20 minutes. 20 plus minutes.
I'm just I don't want to burn a match on that one. And so I think I would, and I would freak out about it, and it'd be in the back of my head. When things would get hard, I'd be going like, "Fuck!
See?
I did the time
I
trial.
shouldn't-
I can
yeah.
back off. Yeah, I shouldn't have done the time trial, or I wouldn't get dropped right now." See, so that's where I'm going with that. And I'd do the Vance Creek if we could find out when it was, things like that. So speaking of races, the River City Omnium. If you're in our regional area, check it out. I don't know their website. I should know their website.
Facebook. Look it up on
Yeah,
Facebook. That's
River City Omnium, right?
RC3. So it's River City
Cycling Classic.
Yeah, Cycling Classic.
Okay, look that up on Facebook. Another one is if you're in our region, a good friend of mine, good friends of mine, Eric and Gino are putting the one and only Gino putting on once again their Wednesday night mountain bike series, which is a shit ton of fun. This year, obviously, it's with COVID, it's restriction galore, but you pre-sign up for a kind of a mini group start time, and it's kind of time trial format with mountain bike style. I'm thinking about doing it on my gravel bike just for shits and giggles, just because it's like I got to get used to my gravel bike a hell of a lot between now and July, so I'm thinking about doing that.
Can I ride my hardtail?
You can. That's what I normally ride.
Yeah, they made fun of you.
They will make fun of me again.
But you should be accustomed to
I'm
being made fun of.
you.
But there
That's
will
why
be
you come here. Toughen up.
there will be less people to make fun of you because they're
Yes.
going in small doses. So it's like, you know.
Dee. Breaking news.
Oh,
July 10th. That's a Saturday. Vance Creek.
I'm fucked. Jackson and I are on our way to San Diego.
Well, Jack and I will have fun.
Yep, I can ride the course like every time I go to the harbor.
But you can't
You know-
shower
you know who
afterwards.
designed
I have a shower now.
Oh,
I
shit.
got it ready before you guys.
He's got
actually.
Oh.
2 5-gallon buckets to catch the water.
Well, is it? You said July 10th?
July 10th.
Okay.
Do you know who did the course? Created the course?
No. Originally,
Yeah.
There was actually it was a state road race championship and potentially a race prior to that, before 1988, and I want to say that a guy from Montesano, I can't remember his name right now, but yeah.
The original. Gripping story, guys. Thanks so much.
I thought
let's get to the news, shall we?
Yeah, I thought he had more in the gun there. I don't think so. He was shooting blanks.
Fuck, I can't remember last week.
Should have shook him off.
Let's check the news headlines, everybody. In case you were not paying attention, or if you were not a bike racer or somebody who follows bike racing, first of all, where have you been? And second of all, why are you listening to my voice right now? Tadej Pogacar, I'm never going to get his name right. I'm never going to get his name right. Pogacar. Succeeded, actually, his compatriot, Primoz Roglic, as the winner of Liège-Bastogne-Liège when he outsprinted French duo Julien Alaphilippe and David Gaudu, which I didn't realize. I didn't think about it at the time. He beat two Frenchies. Mm-hmm. That was, wow. And Alaphilippe just had to be going like, oh, Zutalo, motherfucker! This is twice. Last time out in that fucking in a 5-up sprint for the oldest title on the cycling calendar. Veteran. I'm reading prepared copy. Veteran. Remember when they used to call masters veteran? Does anybody remember that?
Yeah, veterans.
That was old people. Yeah. Alejandro Valverde took 4th place with Michael Woods in 5th. They broke clear of the race's final climb. 13K from the finish. Woods forcing a split with a strong acceleration on its steepest section. By the way, I was going to put this in one of my questions later about it, but holy shit, did you guys know that Michael Woods put down 518 watts for about 90 seconds on that attack? Holy shit.
I think he averaged 480 up the whole climb.
Did he? Fucking hell. Yeah. So first off, is it just me, or has this been a great season? Was I desperate for racing, or has this been an actual amazing spring classic season? Anybody?
I think it's. I've always loved this, but I think we talked about it before, but I think people are the young bucks coming up are just tearing it up.
No holds barred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like old racing where you had to earn your stripes. So it does mix it up. So, yeah, I like it.
Jackson?
Yeah, I think it makes for an unpredictable race scene where nobody really knows who's going to win. Yes, we have the big three of Alaphilippe, Wout, and Van der Poel, but they don't always win, so it's exciting. I like it. I love it, in fact.
Jack's just trapped.
Nope. He's drawing pictures
he's
again.
In a safe place.
Are you okay? No, it's been very exciting. Okay? No, I'm just going through this Tour of Romandy start list. No, I
think I liked you better drunk.
That's what his wife said.
Now this is where I start drawing pictures.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's
gun to my head or something like that. Right?
It has been very exciting, and the guys that did come off cross season, the three, plus. The fucking little short kid from England. Pitcock. Yeah, I mean, amazingly long form. They just held it, and I don't know. It just seemed like it was a little bit different season in a good way.
Yeah. No, I agree. Did anybody actually foresee Pogacar winning this thing? Did anybody actually? No, I know, Paul. Neither of us had it in our picks. Jackson, you didn't either. You had Alaphilippe, right? Which might make you the winner of this race, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't see Pogacar winning, but right at the end, I was like, I knew he had a sprint because he's beaten Roglic in sprints before too. So I knew it was going to go down to those two at the end.
Paul, going into this finale, I honestly remember watching it, just going, okay, I wanted Woods in that bunch. I really did.
That was one of my picks.
Especially watching him power up that final climb. I was like, this guy's fucking flying.
And he's been close several times.
And I didn't know, of that group. I was pretty much convinced that Alaphilippe was going to win it because I figured he of that final group had the best sprint going in. Boy, was I wrong. Mm-hmm. Especially seeing Pogacar towards the back, and just kind of sitting on the final wheels and just kind of cruising. Boy, he timed it.
Well, he learned from where to position himself when it comes to Alaphilippe sprints from his countrymen from LBL last year. That's exactly where Roglic came from. Exact same spot.
No shit.
Think about it. He was in the back, and no one would even put him in the mix. And Alaphilippe launches, but he pulled up sooner.
Posted up.
Yeah.
Oh,
but still, God. I mean, Alaphilippe had not until the last maybe 10 meters was Alaphilippe was in the lead, and then Pogacar just blew him out of the water at that point. So
the diva himself, Carson, was rooting for the master, himself to pull something else out. Did anybody foresee that happening? There was no sidewalk for him to illegally ride on.
And he can't do his PEDs. Anymore. Well, he would have broke Merckx's record. They're tied at 4. He would have had 5 LBLs. So the guy is still consistent at 41 years old.
Shit,
amazing.
Yeah,
but we got those young bucks. I mean, in front of him. So Pogacar was 8 years old when Valverde won his first.
Oh.
When he won his first LBL.
8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Could you handle? I mean, it's the equivalent of going to for me example, going to work every day with my former students.
They're teachers
as
now.
colleagues.
Yeah.
As colleagues.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
I mean, does there come a point in time where you're just like, fuck this, man? I'm just these kids.
No, I just keep going, even on the local.
Yeah.
Well, like I said before, I'm racing against in these local races.
Yeah.
People when they're my age, I'll be dead. I mean, that's how I looked at it. They get cocky with me. It's like, wait until you're my age.
Yeah. I'll be dead.
I'll be dead.
I'd tell you, I told you so, but I'd be dead.
Yeah, let's keep it down a little bit, kids. Think about that.
Anybody have any comments or note on the fact that Richard Carapaz was a beautiful time attack disqualified for a super tuck? Jackson? Yeah.
I was watching it and I went this is the noise and facial reaction for the video watchers.
Oh, I gotta see this.
I always go whenever something like that happens, and my girlfriend that I was watching with, she went, he's gonna get disqualified. He can't do that. He's gonna get disqualified. Immediately she said that, and it was like, I mean, of course she ended up being right, and it was like everybody knew that it was like it, and you could see in his mind that he was like, oh man, it's habitual. So you could see immediately that he was like, I can't do this anymore.
But
and sat back up right immediately.
That's the thing. He did it so quickly, and the NBC commentary of Bob and 5 Stars Horner. Paul said it best. He said, "Drink every time Chris Horner says something about
smashed.
Star."
Yeah, 5 star.
You'd be
he's only a 3-star rider.
Yeah, 3-star, 5-star. Yeah,
5-star.
exactly. Yeah. But both of them were noting the fact that it was a quick. It was like you said, Jackson. It was a oh shit, I can't be doing that, and he immediately got out of it. But holy shit, UCI's all over that. Too bad too bad the super tuck isn't as dangerous as doping.
Yeah,
or the fence.
Cars parked on the side
holy
of the road.
Fuck. Yeah.
Well, I've seen several. Everybody has their take on it. And this one guy made note that his butt was actually touching the nose of his saddle.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the top tube. So because the rule states that you have to have all contact points, handlebars, right? This is where this cloudiness of this rule is. Feet on the pedals, and then But when you stand up and climb, you're not sitting.
No. Yeah.
So what?
So what gives?
So you're gonna be like pinkies and rectum.
Well, you can't do that because it has to be your hands. You can't rest your forearms. One guy had
his pinkies.
I do believe that's a new term.
Pinkies
and rectum.
Pinkies and rectum, right, boys.
Could have killed him. That might be one of when you do your little drink game.
Yeah.
That might be a drink you might.
Pinkies and rectum.
Yeah.
Or 5-star.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Star.
We'll know who they're.
5-star just sounds like something Nicolas
The
Cage would
pinkies
say.
and rectum.
5-star.
It's a 5-star.
5-star.
He's a 5-star rater.
The issue with Chris Horner, I found, was that he's so American.
You
Like-
know what? Yeah. Go. Keep
Like,
going.
I don't know why I trust a British voice more. I've been saying this a bunch of times, but like he's so American to a point where it's like you're a little dorky.
No, yeah, and I was saying that to my wife. I was saying, God, I agree with you. It's almost like I need a British dialect to make things a little bit more legitimate because it's a European sport or something like that. But then I was listening to Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and the more I listened, that Bob and Chris started kind of getting into their behind-the-scenes stories of their years racing, and I found some interesting stories they were talking about. But I also find that they kind of tend to just dumb it down a little bit more.
You have to wonder if some of that is NBC saying, they're trying to create that. But let me ask you and Jackson about this. So when you watch soccer, especially like World Cup, they have a mixture of usually Scottish or British, commentators or people who are doing their, halftime or between stuff. What do you think of the American commentators in those? Because there's always a mix.
I'll go out on a limb here right out of the gates, Jackson. I love Alexi Lawless. I think he's an asshole, but I think he's great. And so I do not mind the American voices on soccer.
How about you,
coverage.
Jackson?
Jackson's going to have a much different take, I would imagine.
Well, I really I find that in many cases when it's a British commentator, it's not just only on their focus isn't only on the one league that they're commentating. With American commentators, I really find that can be an issue. Where for instance, like the person you were just talking about, Dad, Alexi Lawless. There's another one, Felix Twellman, who get really passionate about only American soccer, and then don't necessarily give the attention to the rest of the world, which is such a big part of it. That gets kind of frustrating to me, and it kind of I lose a little bit of reliability when it comes there because there's so much bias. But every once in a while, it is kind of nice to hear a different voice than the usual one that you hear.
I wasn't planning on talking about this, but your thoughts on the Super League, Jackson?
I'm happy that the fans band against it, or really banded together and went against it, because it is kind of killing the modern way that little teams can beat the big teams, which is such a a cornerstone of English, German, French soccer. All of these really big leagues have that aspect. It's a really important part of it. And with the Super League, you just don't get that anymore. You just make money at that point.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Did you guys see Jonathan Vaughters' take on a lot of it over the week on Twitter? He was talking about the fact that he thinks
cycling should go that way.
Cycling is more or less that way. So he says he almost wants to welcome different types of leagues, different types of not organizations, but changes within that element of the sport.
That's a slippery slope right there.
Oh yeah. But it's all about the big money, Yeah. So anyway, I do want to mention before we drop off of LBL, women's race was actually really good too. Demi Vollering from SD Works, first big classic victory of her career. Beat out Annemiek van Vleuten and Elisa Longo-Borghini, who is I keep rooting for her, and maybe I should stop and she'll start winning more. I think she's awesome. Group of 5, final group of 5 there. And who am I'm forgetting who did the massive amount of the work. Van der Breggen did a ton of the work to kind of destroy that and basically completely sacrifice herself for that one. So
but she'll be the director for next year.
Van der Breggen?
Yeah, for SD Works.
Oh, that's not
she
a bad
retires
way to
this year.
secure a gig. What's that, Jay?
I said, talk about a steady head.
No doubt.
Yeah. Not a bad way to secure.
Well, her strategy, I'm wondering if it's as a director is all you do is go up front and ride people off your wheel, because that's basically what she can do. She's so strong.
Yeah.
Hey, why can't you guys do that?
Just ride harder, man.
Yeah.
A couple more things. The Tour de Alps. If any of you guys watched it, I did watch it, and I don't know if I'm just desperate for bike racing, but I thought it was a really good those little mini stage races. Simon Yates is hauling ass right now, and I think we're going to see a lot more from him, especially once we get to Italy. I don't want to get into a pre-Giro show because that's next week, so I guess I'll leave that at that. So Jack's been staring at the Tour de Romandie start list the entire time. I haven't really had a chance to look at it. Jackson, did I send it to you? I sure hope I did.
You did. I have it in front of me now.
Okay, cool. Returns after you're due to COVID. Any predictions for the 1 week? I call it 1 week because it starts on a Tuesday and ends on a Sunday. Race. It would appear that the Giro contenders aren't headed to this one. It's probably too close. You don't want to screw things up that close. So, does anybody have any preconceived notions going in about who might be riding well for the Tour de Romandie? Jack, you've been staring at it. You want to? Got any thoughts going in?
Nah, I mean,
you don't have to.
I did notice the lack of the potential Giro guys. They're just. It's like it was a little harder to pick.
This is much more of a Tour de France style of group. It would look like.
Yeah, but. I mean, I have my picks if you want to.
I mean, looking Ineos, we're staring down the barrel of Geraint Thomas.
Yeah.
Richie Port's down there. Going to Quick-Step. Oh, what are we looking at? Yeah, Jackson, I saw you nodding your head. Yeah, shaking your head. Jumbo-Visma, Kruijswijk. I love the fact. Oh shit! I thought Sepp Kusta's there.
I got Sepp on my radar.
UAE, we got riders like Mark Hirschi. It's as far as overall.
They're mainly most of the teams look like they have like set up for stage winning.
Yeah, with Bora Hansgrohe bringing some unknown rider named Sagan. Yeah. Jack's probably pretty happy about that one. So we're staring through all these names. Does anybody kind of pop out to you? I'm blown away at EF Education.
TJ.
He's still got TJ wearing the number one of that team.
He's my pick for third place.
Podium.
Yeah.
You can do that. He's capable.
So how do we want to do this? I'm offering up just one of those wonderful perks. If you're a member of the Packfiller, you can pick 3 riders with a chance to win prizes. If 2 of your riders end up on the podium,
like Noah,
there's a mug coming to you. Yeah, Noah Sutherland.
Yeah, and apparently some people think he's a double.
He's my body double. Yeah. Noah,
a stunt double.
Yeah, exactly. So Noah, when if you're listening to this show and if there are any public events I really don't want to go to, you're my man. You're the dude. I'm gonna just let my
countertop. There's a countertop upstairs that needs.
I haven't finished the deck. But at nighttime I get with the wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Does anybody have? I'm offering that up there, and you can if you're a member of the Packfiller, you should be in the super secret double Dutch secret probation group on Packfiller. If you're not, I keep forgetting to say this on the show. If you are a paying Packfiller member and you're not in the super secret group, you got to let me know because I can't. I can only do so many things, and some things I'm not very good at. But I can send you a link to get you into
his phone number,
social media group. Yeah, exactly. So pick 3, and we'll go from there. So, gentlemen, do we want to go with do we go 3 riders and a sprinter, or are we going
just 3
2 riders,
GC,
3 GC? Okay, 3 GC. Okay. Paul, you seem pretty convinced.
Yeah, I've already got my picks.
You've got it. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to pick Van Garderen because he did actually show his face a couple of times.
I got him
this last week, but I went
you
with.
Both can pick. It's okay.
Can we really?
Can we?
Yeah, you can both pick the same guy.
And what happens?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I've got Kruijswijk.
Stefan Kruijswijk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stefan Kruijswijk. And then I have Michael Woods because he's starting to show some color.
Yeah.
And And I'm the one that's going to pick Richie Port.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, where's that button? What?
Because, and here's my thought on that.
I'm not
Because
picking.
Geraint Thomas has had shit luck
Yeah.
at this race. He's crashed out so many times because it usually rains and it's cold and it's miserable and that type of thing. But also, I don't think he wants to empty his tank on Romandy. And Richie Port came on, and I think he's going to be support role, and they're going to throw him a bone. So that's my thought on that one. There you go. That's mine.
Holy shit.
Maybe we'll see if he wins. I carry the luck. You carry the bad luck.
Yeah.
That's what we'll know.
Well,
If he crashes, the dude is just cursed.
yeah, if, you know what? Because I'm intentionally not going to pick Richie Port now.
Well, I figured
because
it's
I
not-
think we need to put this to the
Yeah.
test. We need to know if I am
got the
truly a problem.
Who
And,
has
and
the power?
also, I know that it's not. There's not 9 stages. So he always crashes
Yeah.
on stage
He can't
9.
possibly crash.
So I think I'm safe.
He'll crash on a training ride that Wednesday or Thursday.
A couple days later.
Yeah.
Son of a. That's gonna leave a mark.
Ah, crikey. Jackson, I'm going to let you go next.
Okay. I will go for first is Geraint Thomas.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to pick Miguel Angel Lopez.
Ooh.
Superman.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about Steven Kruijswijk, but
I said it.
The coat hanger.
Yeah. Human coat
Yes.
hanger.
But I think I'm going to go, as I usually do, with an outside, kind of not big name, and go with Jonathan Caicedo,
For which team?
EF Education.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Really? I like
Yeah,
that.
he performed pretty well at the Giro last year, so
Okay.
hopefully it translates.
Wow. Okay. Jack Broadhead, you've been staring at that photo like you're trying, like it's one of those 3D
It's gonna jump out
paintings
at him.
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah.
Which I could never make those.
So what you
things
do at the
happen.
dog track?
Yeah, just come on. Hey, talk to me.
I'm just kidding. So I have Geraint as he was the first guy I picked, but
Yeah, okay.
Sepp Kuss
Sepp
and TJ Van Garderen.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got it. This is it. Roman
He's
or
good with
bust.
1 week
This is it.
races.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good at
He
those.
is, yeah.
Incredibly good at those.
He's a good TT guy. And
Yeah.
Well, shit. Now I don't know what to do because I'm basically picking riders that have all been chosen before.
well,
But I'm going to do it. I'm hoping I see something from Geraint Thomas. That's my first. I really want to see something from Sepp Kuss just because I love the guy, and I want to see something from Michael Woods. So there we go. And my picks have been a little better this year. They haven't been suffering
because you've been watching.
horrific things.
That helps.
I watch.
Not before.
But I
not
don't
like
think I'm
you are
going to
now.
curse him. I feel like I've been a curse.
Only
for all these
only
years.
Port.
Yeah, and
And maybe Crossworlds.
Oh, let's try.
Women's
If we're
sprint.
gonna
Yeah.
the Richie Port thing, we're gonna give it a try.
This is our true.
yeah.
gamble.
And then if it holds true that he does win, and I'm good luck or whatever,
Yeah,
Then we know
you
who to
start
curse.
picking Johnny Mascon, and just watch him cream himself out,
Yeah.
and then we don't have to deal with him.
Yeah,
See, that's my thought.
take that.
Yeah.
I'll just pick assholes from here
Yeah.
on out.
Yep.
Yeah. He takes one to no one.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Whoops.
Hey, everybody, in tech news, thanks to a scoop from our man, Brent Soderberg, it has been discovered that Austrian brand Tubolito has just released a range of new inner tubes. Paul's looking at me inquisitive, and I intentionally am going to shift the camera to him on this one because including the new Tubo MTV PSENS, which can connect with your phone to provide quick and easy pressure readings on the go. This is a tube.
What are you gonna do? Just
Hold
stop in the
on,
middle?
let me finish the story. These utilize a similar construction to the original Tubolito inner tubes that first hit the market back in 2017 and impressed with their low weight, rolling resistance, and small pack size. Using thermoplastic elastomer, TPU, instead of bottle. So, first of all, we're now at the point where we can have a Bluetooth connection to our tube. And I'm going to give you the rest of their press release, and then we'll go from there. They are also releasing, although it's not blessed with the best of names, they're pretty cool tech, right? Not bad, right? There's a chip, a near-field communication chip that sits inside the tube and communicates with an Android or iOS device when held close to it. I'm trying to do this with a straight face. To provide the current pressure readings. Retail cost. Does anybody have an idea of how much these tubes are going to cost?
$50 a piece.
$50 a piece is spot on.
Really?
For
Yeah.
a tube.
It's just.
Yeah. First of all, my question for everybody on the panel: why? Jackson, you're our newest guy into technology, so answer the question of why you would want a $50 Bluetooth tube.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I would. This is gonna be this is gonna be probably a shock to everybody, but there are such things as digital pressure gauges out there that you can put on your valve stem, and it can tell you the pressure right then and there. And you don't necessarily need an app and $50 worth of tubes. What happens when that tube blows? You're out $50. So I think there's an issue there. I think it's a pretty good idea. Yes, I think it's fun. I mean, we're at the point where we have, as everybody calls it, beep boop shifting. Why the hell not? We can do whatever we want at this point. So let's make a tube that tells us what our pressure is. Let's move forward, as I always say.
Jack's shaking his head.
I think they've dropped it halfway. I want a tube that tells me the pressure, but that I can adjust the pressure on the fly.
On your phone?
Yeah, like I want to be riding and it's starting to rain and I'm in a crit and I can drop it down to about 85 pounds.
Internal gas packets.
That's exactly. They stopped halfway.
That wouldn't weigh too much.
Yeah. That was my thought exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, well,
Put it opposite the valve stem,
Well,
so it'll
actually, I'm sure you can integrate that into the hub and the disc brake and the, all of that eventually. So if you're running hydraulics to your,
brake,
front brake, then why not be able to
a little
run
air hose in there?
nanotech. It's
and the spokes would be the delivery system. I'm telling you, we could just go through the hub right through the spoke.
Hollow spoke.
One
hollow
spoke.
spoke. The hub has
big spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hub has the compressor in it.
There you go. See,
and it sends the air through the spokes into the tube.
And you communicate with your hub to give yourself your tube. See, we're onto something. We're all gonna
telepathically
be millionaires.
Yeah. Jackson's excited.
Really good idea.
What?
That's a really good idea, especially for adventure cyclists.
Yeah.
Who you encounter so many different terrain styles.
Yeah, you go to the road and you
point
want pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, like Jackson, we're going to be doing Belgian waffle ride. It'd be nice to go I want to drop the pressure down a little bit here, and now that I'm back on the road, just back up. Yeah, internal.
I'm going to work on that when I get home.
The power for the generator. The power for the generator. This is a guy with buckets under his shower.
Yeah.
But I'm giving you shit, Jack. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You're such an asshole.
But the power, the momentum of the bike could power the generator and actually provide. Anyway, Paul, what's your thoughts on this? You old curmudgeon-y son of a bitch.
I think we're losing our minds. Well, first of all, of course, everything I relate to. Immediately, I'm thinking in a race situation, it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that's what for the average guy, and Jackson was talking about, I could see if they invented something that, I don't know, adventure riding, you probably would have your phone in front of you, and I know that Justin was working on getting a charger. He was going across Washington State, where a generator was built in his wheels so it could charge his phone so he could do all this. Anyway, so, maybe it's not a bad idea, but for our application, $50, you can sit there and see, I'm 50 pounds, you can let some air out, and do some rough, like Jax is talking about, some jagged rut, and then you can pump up exactly, just carry a little mini pump, and then jack it up back to 50 pounds or whatever. I guess that makes sense, but
Our cars have sensors here too.
Why aren't they doing this with the rim and tubeless and not a tube?
They're still working out on the tubeless on road bikes. Trying to keep one thing at a time. Yeah.
I will say something. Tubolito is also making inner tube that will benefit the gravel riders out there in quite a big deal. I guess they're wonderful to pack with you. This is not one with Bluetooth technology in it. Super light, easily packable, single tube, work with both 700C and 650B wheels, as well as tires with widths from 30 millimeters all the way up to 47. Great thing to carry around with you. However, that ticket price is $34.90. So what do you put the balance on carrying weight? Yeah, Paul's shaking his head.
Yeah.
Jackson?
I'm waiting for the topic because I'm going to throw this in because I know what the topic is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
you know what the topic
I'm
is.
going to add on to that.
Hey, let's get to the topic then, shall
Okay.
we? Our topic brought to you by our friends at the Athletic Brewing Company. Jack,
Excellent beer.
he's going to pee. Oh, Athletic brews with non-alcoholic beverages. Some call them beer, some don't. You guys, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Athletic has helped me lose 20 pounds while still having a beer when I want one. Low calories, great flavor. Warning, it is a different flavor. I'm not going to lie. It is not, you're not going to be sipping down a cold Belgian, brewed by
German.
monks, or German, made by monks or non-monks, Once you kind of get accustomed to the flavor profile and check out all their award-winning offerings at Athletic Brewing or hell, just click on the link at packfiller.com. I've got one up there. So also thanks to our friends over at Mojo Cyclery. Guys had to take a COVID week off recently. So our friends over at Mojo, and they had to quarantine a little bit. I guess there was some sort of an exposure over there, and this is a tough time for the local bike shops. So that means we all have to gather up and throw some support. Get your butt over to the shop, bring them a beer, and buy them something. Buy something from them is what I meant to say. It could be a chain, a sweatshirt, or overhaul your bike because you treat it like shit. So whatever. If you're not in the greater Spokane area, you know what? I'm sure the guys would be cool with me saying this, even though it's an ad for them. Get your ass over to your local bike shop and do the same. So it's kind of funny that Jack's not here because I'm going to have to say the topic twice, basically, because little potty boy's going.
I was thinking he should
we just talk about Jack while he's gone?
No,
what
he should have done, and we'll do it the next time. He needs to take his phone with him, put it on the YouTube live, so he doesn't miss a beat, so he can come back in.
Shit.
There we go.
Or call in. He should call in on Podbean. So you can hear him peeing.
Let everybody know you could be watching or listening to the show on the toilet.
You could.
Yeah.
And if you
even respond.
If you call, we'll hear you shitting.
Yeah.
Jack, we decided
Let's
next
not
time
encourage that.
Next time you go, next time you go for a potty break, we're gonna make you call into Podbean and go into the bathroom and do the show.
You want to listen to me pee?
See, that's what we decided. What are you doing with my toy keys? He took my toy keys.
That there is
Your wife
an RV.
handed them to me.
She what? Shit.
To look
She's
at.
like, go look.
Anyway, you guys, and the times they are a changing. Remember when we could super tuck? When we could put our Spinachis on our handlebars? When our brakes worked no matter what wheel set we had on? Or when cyclists doped on good old-fashioned testosterone? Remember those days? Mm-hmm. I think we're at a big crossroads in the sport. And I don't mean that to sound melodramatic, but I truly do. Bikes are changing. Racing is changing. Technology is obviously insanely changing. We just talked about freaking tubes with Bluetooth connectivity. And even the pro scene is changing. So what I want to do is talk about the biggest changes and decide on whether or not they're for the better, or should we just, or should we just accept that these changes are happening and, leave the pack, go off and die in the woods by ourselves, so we don't provide a burden to anybody anymore. Just kind of like the rule of nature. So this is Jackson's fault.
Yeah.
This entire topic is Jackson's fault. Yeah, he's the evil child. So what I want to do is I want to ask several kind of not generic, but changing styles of questions. And I want us to approach some of the biggest topics in the sport and go from there. So I want to start at the top. I want to start at pro racing. Kids aren't waiting to earn their spots anymore. These little young punks are just going, hey, I'm a pro, I'm going for the win. Am I correct? And is this a good thing or a bad thing? Who do I start with? I guess I go up in age. Start with Jackson, and tell me what your thoughts are on this on the pro cycling scene. Primarily, we're going to start with primarily the road scene.
Yeah, like you said, as we're seeing, there are a lot of younger riders in and around my age, in fact, coming up through the ranks and taking some of the biggest wins, as we see with Tadej Pogacar winning the Tour last year. He's, 22 now,
Yeah.
I think? 21?
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, which makes me sit on my couch and go, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, wasted life.
But I love it. I think there's got to be a changing of the guard sometimes, and I think if you don't just go up and get it, you're never going to get it in the first place. So, yes, there is some respect out there, and I know it for a fact, especially Pogacar saying how much he respects his compatriot Roglic, who has a little bit more experience on him. But yes, while there's respect, there's also sometimes respect needs to be overlooked, and I think that you gotta take what you want, and I think in a lot of cases we're seeing that happen, and I personally love it. And like I said, a changing of the guard has to happen, so you just gotta do it, and I don't think there's anything to be scoffed at in that.
Guys, is this a faster changing of the guard than would normally happen, or is this just a natural order of things? Go away, old man, and die.
Valverde is not going away.
No.
Is it my turn in age?
Yeah.
No, I don't know who's next.
Yeah, he's next.
Yeah, I'm younger than you.
Oh,
So,
are you?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
it. So I was thinking about it, and this does happen though. If you look at, and I hate to bring up Lance or I know, sorry. How some of the mountain bikers that I know, sorry, man. You should do that as the L comes out of my mouth.
Well, it just came into my head.
So I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
Anyway, some of the mountain bikers back in the mid 2000s,
Sure.
where and even like Cadell Evans, it's not you're going to grow up in France or Belgium or Italy and you're a road racer and your dad was a road racer. There's all of those guys and but then there's people that are coming from other sports that all of a sudden they were a triathlete last year and they're winning big races as a pro that you've never heard of these guys.
Yeah.
So it's not like that different. It's different in the fact that we have a really young tour winner and a really aggressive group of young guys, but I don't know that it hasn't already happened many times. We're just talking about it.
We're just noticing it more now, or
I think maybe.
Paul, thoughts on these new fuckers?
Well, as I mentioned, I think last week where there were several riders I've heard on different podcasts, Philippe Gilbert, Michael Matthews, I think what's his name, Durbridge, talking about the old guard and the respect, and that's gone. The younger guys are shooting the gap, and I just started before I got here. GCN has a new release on their one of their movies or whatever they call it, the little
documentary
channel. Stuff.
Yeah,
it's about jerseys, and I just started it. And one of the quotes from Sean Kelly, who we both, probably all three of us idolize, just said, there was respect in the peloton. It's not there anymore.
Wow.
So I think that's coming from a crusty old bastard that I am. I think it might be a good thing, as in getting. To me, I find it very exciting, and so I think the old guys, what they need to do is shut their mouths and deal with it, and beat them, and find a way to beat them, as opposed to crying about it. If somebody shoots the gap, next time I hear somebody coming up, I'm going to shut that door down. Yeah. I'm not, that's what I like about bike racing. It's just it should be organic and it should be changing, and I think change is good. But some of the things in cycling industry that are changing, I'm very not happy with.
We're going to get to those, I promise.
Yeah, and that's why I ended there.
We're talking about this pro mentality where these guys are coming in. I remember back in the day, there was this patron of
El
of
Patron.
the Peloton, the Bernardi knows, the things like that, don't you dare attack kind of a thing like that. You heard stories of the Giro where there was the piano, and then now we go fast and things like that. But on the other side of the coin, you're also seeing some burnout from some of these high pros, Tom Dumoulin, Marcel Kittel, where guys are just going, I can't do this anymore. It is just frying my brain. Has the sport changed? I remember younger riders coming into a pro team and being nurtured and being brought about. Greg LeMond couldn't do his first tour for a couple years with Renault and things like that. And it's all that's gone. It's like, you're now a pro. We're throwing you into the biggest race in the world. We don't care about your knees or your brain or whatever it might work. Is that the evolution of the sport, or is that just the evolution of humanity, or is that just big bucks talking?
It's big bucks.
You think so?
Society's changed.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to pay like Le Mans, even though they did it that way. They paid Le Mans broke the
$1 million record.
Yeah. Right off the gate. That never happened before, and it's weird. Back in his day, was it 83, 84 when he got? When did he get?
It was a switch from.
No, when he became a pro
Renault
contract with Renault.
Yeah.
He demanded this high price, and everybody's like, "You haven't even hit, you haven't even raced in Europe yet. What the hell?"
But his $1 million contract wasn't until Packfiller.
But he asked for more money as a neo pro than anybody else.
Oh, okay.
And people like Stephen Roach and other people were saying, "No, we were getting paid shit."
Yeah.
And guys, a lot of those guys were working a second job, and that's why they're coming in. They would race into shape when you saw all these early, like spring classics and stuff.
Sure.
Now these guys are coming in flying. So it's a double-edged sword, because now everybody, because we've taken the Kool-Aid of money, you're going to have to stay in shape the whole time, because that's your contract. Your contract is, and that creates that burnout.
Yeah.
That's where I think we're seeing it, because these guys don't get to go and
Take it easy.
meet your buddies at the end of the season and drink beer and party up and say, hey, in January we'll hit the pavement a little bit,
not
and
give me 2 good months. It's give me 9 good months.
Yeah.
and or more.
Well, we're seeing it. Yeah, you're right. We're seeing guys who need to be, who are expected to be on the entire year. It's not just you specialize as a Tour de France rider or something like that.
And I think it's across the board. Look at European football; those guys they have to stay fit.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, because their seasons are pretty long, and then there's always European play. All the different in the summer and between, but. Still, but the more the money goes up, the more they're expected to perform at all times.
Yeah.
So, I think it's money.
Jackson, got anything to add, or no, should I jump?
No, keep going. Yeah, I'm just like really intensely listening there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think super teams are changing too. We had times where we had these I think of super teams over history. I think of Renault, I think of La Claire, I think of Benesto, I think of obviously USPS. And things like that, where we had these teams that were focused and built around one specific objective and things like that. And that seems like that model seems to be going away or changing. You see what Ineos is doing now. Still, obviously, a team built for Grand Tours and races.
But all 3 Grand Tours.
Yeah, all 3 Grand Tours, and they're also being highly combative in some of these other smaller races. Is the age of the super team gone? Anybody? Jackson? No.
I don't think so. I mean, we're seeing the likes of Deceuninck Quick-Step, obviously, as you just said, Ineos, some of these other teams. Like, if we're being honest, yes, Jumbo-Visma has a much smaller budget than the likes of an Ineos Grenadiers, but they're still creating these teams that, with the likes of Wout van Aert or Tom Pidcock, these type of riders, it's like one rider puts you into that upper echelon, and then you can immediately compete for all these different races. I mean, it's really just having the amount of riders, and I think there's always going to be the bigger teams who have the best riders and who can take the best riders, kind of like a Bayern Munich in Germany can do the same thing. But for instance, an Intermarché, Wanty Gobert is never going to be able to do that because of their smaller budget. So I think there's always going to be that big price gap.
They do have Jan Bacalans, and who Louis Menkes, just saying. But any thoughts on the super teams? Jackson summed it up really well there. Yeah, I'll just let the kid have it. That was good. That was really good. How about these rule changes? What is with these rule changes, people? That was my Seinfeld. What the fuck? I mean, I'm sorry. I know that, and one of my questions later on is going to be about the governing bodies of the sport and how we see these changes. But any additional ones that you see on the future, why don't they install, for example, why isn't there a lifetime ban on doping?
Mm-hmm. One and done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why don't we have just,
money.
Boom, B sample came back, you're fucked, goodbye forever.
It's money.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a start, because when you hear somebody got busted on a lower team, they're like, no big deal. Yeah. It's the bigger guys that get busted, that affects the whole sport. I mean, Lance really put a stain, obviously, because of what he did. But everybody was involved.
Well, yeah, his tests that did come back positive, the UCI, through the ways you could kind of brush it under the rug, with donating to the drug enforcement side of the UCI. Yeah. It's like, well, and then having that doctor's excuse, and it just, it's corruption. They would never do that for a lower tier rider.
Well, we're not getting to the government body yet. So
why are we focusing so hard on sock height and puppy paws and arrow tucks? I don't know. It's.
Well,
Jackson's about to say something.
Go ahead, Jackson.
Go, dude. Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I will commend the UCI on is they're taking action before something bad has happened. I think the barriers is one of the instances in which they kind of failed a little bit and dropped the ball. They didn't really implement a fully safe barrier until it took something pretty drastic to happen. But then we're also seeing and I've made this case before, with the Super Tuck, that what they're thinking is they don't want to influence the younger rider in a lot of cases, and they don't want to have to outlaw it before somebody's gotten into such a bad accident on the Super Tuck that it becomes like a really big deal, which I do respect. And I think that they are thinking as not just a governing body that is about a very select percentage of riders, but they're rather thinking of the whole community of the world of cyclists, which I do respect and I think is a good call. I think where it is, where the issue is the enforcement, and rather than a first offense is a slap on the hand, instead it's a disqualification. Like, I feel like there needs to be some, I feel like there needs to be some discretion there, but.
I just see the whole thing as absolutely asinine right now with some of these things. Not to pick on you, Jay, but I'm taking off from where you went. If I watch a sword swallower on America's Got Talent, I'm not going to go down in my basement and start throwing knives down my chest. I mean, I'm not that fucking stupid. There are thing of the herd moments. I could watch Pele do a bicycle kick, and I'm not going to do it because I'm going to snap my neck in half if I try to flip over backwards. Is there a point where, is this really what the UCI is focusing on? Is it truly that? Is that truly the issue that you're worried about? Copycat kids doing a Super Tuck and suing the UCI to take away all your money that you can't have your condo in Switzerland anymore? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with this. And in doing that, I am going to jump a bunch of questions ahead and bring into how the sport is governed and what we're seeing in terms of how the sport is governed. Is it being governed well? Are there alternatives in the future? I think of our friends in gravel racing who are probably about to be completely encompassed within these governing bodies, and I'm sure they're fighting it tooth and nail. By the way, sorry, gravel, you're going to fall the way that mountain biking has in under that umbrella of control. So I guess I'm opening it up to USCI, USA Cycling, and those types of things, and what's going well. Where are we headed? Is it going to get better? Or are we just going to get more worried about fucking puppy paws?
Well, I think we live in an age when it comes to like the, no one has crashed in the pro peloton as far as I know doing puppy paws or and it might be preemptive, right? But we don't worry about that when it's a 30-man sprint, and guys are going down all the time.
Yeah.
I think the UCI is reacting on in my opinion, those particular things because in today's day and age with social media, it's all about image. Yeah. Everything's about image. That we are supposed to be represent this. We don't want young kids to do this or don't do this. I mean, before they made it illegal, every time a rider did that, American commentators is like, I'm not comfortable with that, or don't try this at home. How many times do they say that? Every single time? And it's like, why not? I mean, we have trials guys jumping across. I mean, are we going to stop televising Red Bull stuff where guys are doing tricks? They're like, that's foolish. And I'll use the NFL is like, I used to be the biggest NFL fan around. The rules have got so thick and so stupid. Possession of the ball, it's not a fumble and it's slowed down because of looking at it. The more rules you have, the more clogged up, less appealing to me. Yeah. And I got into cycling myself because the simplistic part of this mechanical thing, they gave you a mechanical advantage to going down a road. I got to choose the gears that I want that I think made me go faster. Now we've got everything possible to get aero and blah, 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 blah. And, I think we're just getting deeper and deeper into mud that's hopefully we can just pull our heads out. But I don't know.
UCI is very much like the FIA for Formula One.
Yep.
So it's
absolutely.
It's all controlling and
FIFA.
I think they're probably so they're trying to get
and the IOC
like NASCAR where you like everything is extremely controlled and uniform and you're out for you personal expression or that type of thing. So image is exactly huge. Whoever said that was, I mean, it's all about that almost like dictatorship of one person, the president of UCI, in control right now. Through the years there's been bad ones, and I don't see that it's Europe. It's still very much like Formula One. I mean, it's
well, just real quickly, because I know I've been bogarting it, but image, the thing is why do you need to protect an image? If you think about it, it's because sponsors will say, I don't like what your sport is projecting. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So the money, again, is what's driving it. So I'd like to see local racing, and we'll get more further into this discussion, but like bike parts and all that type of thing. But, I'd like to see that grow. But if you start putting more rules on it, who in the hell is going to want to race?
Jackson, you want to take us out of here before you want to take us out of this one, Jackson? And do you have any kind of, like, especially like, is there an alternative to what we might see in the future? Is it going to be, I mean, and this is kind of tracking back to what Jonathan Vaughters was talking about in terms of this alternative leagues, alternative things, taking us to a new style. A lot of riders, pro riders going over to gravel racing and adventure racing and different types of things like that. Where does the future take us in your thoughts and your opinions? Where are we at the crossroads, and where do you think we could go?
I mean, I think we're at a time where writers, because of, especially like we were just talking about, a big subject was social media. I think writers have even more of a voice than they did before, and I think we're going to see a lot more writers speaking up on these type of issues because they're not going to just accept some of these things that are coming at them. I mean, for instance, I saw Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert, like I think Tom Pidcock as well. Don't quote me on that one, but I think they all were saying goodbye to the Super Tuck, and I think that is, these types of riders are just the beginning. I mean, with the younger generation coming through, we're going to see so many more voices being heard through these platforms than we did before.
Well, I'll kind of rebuttal that using Pidcock as an example. I think you still are controlled by the money part, because Big Hawk made a comment about his finish against with Wout at Amstel. He had to delete it because he made a comment, and apparently it didn't go over very well.
Yeah.
And you know that the powers to be said you got to pull that out. So I think I'd like them to have a pure voice, and the person that got ridiculed for actually speaking his mind was Chris Froome. When he talked about his bike, flimsy bars and stuff. People are like, why is he talking like this? Why is he dissing? You're supposed to promote this.
Yeah.
And there are so many more expectations upon riders, and social media is such much of a larger glass house that these guys are living in.
Yeah.
I mean, we could look at what Chloe and what Quinn Simmons have done to themselves and their careers in their social media commentary. It's not an interview for Winning Magazine. It's not an interview for Velo News. It is a random tweet, but unfortunately hundreds and thousands of, if not millions of people are reading it at that point in time. And that, boy, my God, to be able to have to take that into account. I just want to race my bike hard. I don't want to be expected to be some sort of a new, spokesperson. And I get maybe that's why we're seeing some of this burnout. These
Exactly.
people, it's too
so much
of a
pressure.
demand. It's too much of a demand.
Let me ask, hey Jackson, if you were a pro cyclist, would you have a Twitter account? Would you pursue that?
Yeah.
I think you have to.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I definitely would, because I think being involved with people and the fans is like a big cornerstone of the sport. So I think that's a really big part of it. But I also think that with social media, it leaves a lot of thinking to be done with the riders. Unfortunately, with Quinn Simmons and Chloe, they made a pretty big mistake on a pretty big subject that is, I do get that they were, it was a lapse of judgment, but I think you just don't have to comment on these type of things. So I think it all goes back down to, like we were talking about earlier, common sense. Tweet what you know is not going to be controversial, and you'll live your life happy.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do, and that's what I would do if I was at that pro level.
Well, and I'm just expand a little bit on that. So I heard, God, I'm trying to think of who it was. Oh, it was Connor Dunn on CNN. Or GCN.
GCN.
Yeah, and they were talking about the new insert that Vittoria has for tubeless tires, and they asked, "Would you be interested in that?" And he goes, "No, no, I still would stick to tubulars on the downhill. If you get a blowout, for sure."
Yeah.
And this is GCN had already done a little segment about these particular insert, and it was a paid advertisement by Vittoria. So. But the thing is, he made a comment, is like, and he could speak highly about this topic. If you're on a team and somebody does not like the product that you're sponsored, you're supposed to keep your mouth shut. In the bus, somebody goes, you know what? I blew a shift because of this, or my tire went out. And he says it's poison, and it goes through. But you can't say a darn thing.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, getting back to social media. The problem is these guys can't really speak their true mind. I wish they could. I would find it interesting, but I think a lot of that's tailored. So
a lot of it's probably behind closed doors. I think there's a lot of pros that ride bikes that aren't necessarily the bike. They're repainted to look like a.
Yeah.
They used to, but
this is in the days of Huffy and Serrata or something, or Landshark, stuff like that. Yeah. Talk to me about on a more local and regional level. Where do we see racing as a sport coming? And that can be in terms of the population of it, the style of it, and I think we can all probably agree that there's some form of another pandemic that's going to happen. I think as a culture, we are too selfish and ignorant to not let it happen again. So where are regional and local bike races happening? And I'm not just talking for us here in Spokane. Where do we see things headed? What kind of crossroads are we at? And do we have any crystal ball into where this is all going? Jackson, I don't want to throw you under that bus, but fuck it.
No, yeah, I think currently, I think we are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I know that a lot of people don't feel that way, but when I see not to go too deep into the political pool, but when I see the numbers of vaccinations, it makes me happy. So I think that is where I will leave that, and I think there is going to be racing that will come soon. The fact that we are getting emails about the Belgian waffle ride shows me that there is something to look forward to and that there is something coming down the turnpike. And so I think it's coming. Will it be a little different for a little while? Maybe. But I also think that out of our current situation, there could be some sort of interesting and new types of racing that are coming. These time trials, these like virtual races, all of these types of things are new and fun and exciting, and they're a new addition to our sport, which we should not look down on because they're a way for us to survive. They're a way for the sport to survive and excel, which I really respect and I am very happy with. Yes, the year has sucked, but there have been some pretty cool things that have come out of it.
I think there are going to be different styles of racing coming out of this. I think we're going to see a whole different, popularity and time trials are going to return. Team time trials, group kind of mini group things like that, because it's and people are going to find out wow, that was fun. The triathletes, the Fondo group is going to go, that was less intimidating. I got to do the whole course. I think we're going to be shifting that. I think that's going to be a huge thing that's going to be a takeaway from this, even though it's not a TT crit road race weekend. I don't know. Guys, anybody? No?
Time trials, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with I think sometimes in a time of need, you start inventing things, and I think that's what we've seen. It's not my cup of tea, virtual racing, but it got people out and about, so I think that's a good thing, and maybe if time trials also.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to jump through a bunch of topics here. Technology as a whole: bikes, frames, components, GPS mapping and traction, riding with bone conduction headphones. Talk about the good, the bad, and the middle of what we've seen. Everything from Bluetooth tubes, all the way to, heaven forbid, disc brakes. And things like that, and things we like, things we're excited for, things we wish were back the old way. I'm going to start at Paul. I'm going to let you go. Let's start with some good things you're seeing first of all, Paul.
I do like the way pro racing is going right now. I really do. It's exciting. I think there's people that are stumbling into it, especially with the pandemic that we've had. I'm hoping that will trickle into like the Tour de France, because people are getting out on their bikes.
Yeah.
That once they see that, it's not so foreign to them because they're riding a bike, and that's the way it is in Europe. I mean, the average guy rides a bike, and so they can relate to the effort it takes. But the guy who drives 2 blocks to the mailbox to mail a letter in the United States doesn't have. They're just a cyclist is in the way.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking positive there. On the negative side, the unfortunate thing is the evil child mentioned this rival group. It was electric. That thing is $1,600 for a group.
Yeah.
And SRAM has really not progressed their mechanical group at all.
Where's the money in that?
Yeah, because companies make money on OEM. So when somebody specs out a bike, Shimano rules that world. So we're going to have somebody like me, boutique individuals that like wristwatch. Everybody had one. Now, I mean, you define a wristwatch, you're going to be spending $200. Now it's a piece of, analog type of technology. So mechanical makes sense. And I was thinking about this after we were texting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, and of course my passion is amateur racing, and I like to see that grow because it was a big thing in my life. I'd like to see a little stop on this progression where disc brakes increase the cost of bikes because of the material used in the design and everything. Electronic shifting jumps up. So the cheapest probably electronic bike you're going to find is at $4,000. That does not appeal to somebody. If I had a young kid, he wants to race a bike, I got to spend $4,000 plus drive all over the frickin' place. It doesn't increase that. And Bart Bowen, and I'll end here. Bart Bowen, when you interviewed him 2 years ago about the Cascade Classic, He said he wanted to get juniors all on aluminum bikes, mechanical, everything's interchangeable, aluminum rims. There's no advantage. And the problem is the industry is pushing this high-end stuff for the doctor, the attorney, the weekend warrior.
Yeah.
And I can't afford, if I crash my bike, I'm not going to be able to buy its equal. And I can't even afford almost a rival that's going to weigh like 5 pounds more than my bike now in 2021. So, yeah, that's the frustration for me. I like advancement. I don't want to poo-poo it, but when it costs so much, both in, my passion, road racing, amateur, and then also just in the dollar.
Yeah. Jack, you want
that
to
was
jump on
that was a good point. I listened to that interview with Bart, and he mentioned kind of like NASCAR, where everybody, here's your spec, this is what you're going to ride, and it keeps it around $1,200 or whatever, and that's brilliant for junior racing. Yeah. Why not? So it's interesting because if this was a podcast of 20-somethings, there would be no history of where you guys have been or where we have been.
That's why I'm saving Jackson for last.
He's loading the bike that I started on versus the bike I'm expected to buy is like the Wright brothers, my grandma, seeing, being around for that, and then being around for like, space shuttle flights or
sitting in a DC-10 or a 747,
the Concorde.
Concorde.
So there's two takeaways for me is because I've enjoyed riding all the technology that I have from from the 10 speed with 5 gears in the back cassette to just even shifting on my handlebars. But probably the best thing I can take away from this technology is that there's massive amounts of people and engineers that are like focused on the cycling industry. And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was 1/10 of that. So it's almost like the growth. It's nice to see cycling grow in a like people inventing Bluetooth tubes. That's as bizarre as that is. Somebody went to college and they have an aerospace degree and they decided to build bike tubes. So there's going to be some good coming out of it. Not necessarily that's fun to ride, or I'd buy a $50 tube. I will never buy a $50 tube. A $50 tubular?
Yes.
See, that's
But
Jackson, take us home on the technology issue. I know you're a guy who loves this. You embrace all this. This is something about what you're doing, and it's interesting hearing some of the conversations talking about making cycling inaccessible because of the higher cost and advancement of this technology. But you're somebody who embraces a lot of that. So bring us around.
Yeah, I think I love the innovation of it all, and I think it is so fascinating to, as what Jack was just saying, see so many people working so hard to create to move a sport along into a path that it's never been before. Like I said before, how like 10, 15, 20 years ago, did we have beep boop shifting? No, we didn't.
Zap 15
and it's,
probably.
And I find this stuff exciting, and I think that, of course, I think that there are things that go too far. I personally am not someone who needs a Bluetooth tube in my tire, because that's not something that that excites me and would be useful to me. But I also think where we can go a little wrong is looking at something and going, that's a stupid thing to create, because there's so much more to come after that.
You start with a Bluetooth tube, and you end up with a compressor in your
condom. Oh, what?
Sorry, Jack.
That's where you're going. Non-alcoholic beer.
Wow, we took the wind out of Jackson.
Sorry.
Keep going, dude. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, starting with like a thing like disc brakes, it's new, and yes, it's frustrating that we don't have the same type of technology as before. But unfortunately, with frustration, eventually will become, I think, happiness and an understanding of why things had to change. For instance, how much did a cheeseburger cost at Zips in the 50s, like 25 cents. You know what I mean? How much does it cost now? $7 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
It's bound to happen. I think that, of course, I shouldn't be able to buy a Specialized Tarmac or a Pinarello Dogma for more than I could ever hope to buy a house for. I agree that that is a dumb idea. But unfortunately, that's how it's going to work. And I think rather than fighting it, I think we have to just find little nifty ways to work around that. I mean, I've got an entry level, like what most would call an entry level road bike, and I've put all I can into it. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that it needs to be looked at as well. And it just excites me. Like I get giddy thinking about this.
I think the key thing that we need to look into is the implementation of this technology. It is such a rush to put this stuff in. And when Paul talks about disc brakes, I love disc brakes. I love how they handle. I love how they perform. But you know what? I don't think we're ready to shove it down people's throats. I don't think we've made a disc brake that can handle the amount of travel that a brake should work. So you can do a wheel change and it can have the amount of brake pad and things like that. I think everybody's so goddamn excited that we shove this stuff down the public's throat, and we're going to all end up replacing stuff every 3 years until we finally find the right model. Or, hey, guess what? The new Apple headphones came out this year. Is there anything different? No, they're blue. Yes,
they're blue.
I think we've got to. I think we've got to figure out how to pace these things. But because it's a cash-driven industry, that's never going to happen. So the last thing I was going to talk about, but we're already at 90 minutes into our program, gentlemen. And maybe I'll bring this up on the next show. Is talking about the future of collectively as a cycling community, what kind of crossroads we're at. I think we could all probably agree that right now, as a culture of human beings, we are at a crossroads. I personally have never really understood how selfish, especially people in my country are. In terms of how they live their lives. I never really knew it until I saw people who made a decision to put a piece of fabric on their mouth or not. And I realized how big of a problem that is. And we've got a divide in our sport. It's very similar to what we do in our country. And we've got, because I ride a different type of bicycle than you do, you are different than I am. Because I am in a car versus on a bike, you are different than I am. And I think that alone is probably a topic for an entire show, just to try to discuss why, we can all agree there is a cyclist versus cars mentality out there, and which is hilarious because we're all just dumb assholes operating a vehicle. But there's at any given point in time right now, I think all the bikes out there should probably be trying to get a little arm in arm and Hands Across America here and try to figure out a way to push some sort of a cohesive effort out there. Am I making sense? But maybe that's a topic for another show, unless somebody's got a bullet point they want to jump in and just kind of.
There's a can of worms there.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's funny. I had so many other things, and and maybe we need to talk about these on another show. And I apologize, especially where women's racing is going. We talk about women's racing on this show quite a bit, and there are, I personally believe, far better qualified podcasts out there to talk about women's racing. It doesn't mean I'm not going to, but I think I would like to talk about where women's racing has grown, but I also think it's got a fuck ton of a way to go. But I'd like to see where that's going, and things like I want to talk about where track's going. Jesus Christ, does anybody race track anymore? Ashton Lambie. Is that pretty much it? Anyway. So, I'm out of time. We're out of time. Anybody got anything they want to close with?
Oh, just get back, Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson's back here soon.
Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday to Jackson. Less than 24 hours today. When some of you were listening to this, my little baby's going to be a year older and stuff like that. And good luck on the finish of the college, the home stretch here, Chief. For those of you interested in club supporter of Packfiller in any way, shape, or form, you're running out of time. It is the 26th when we're recording this. I am going to end the efforts as of the end of April. Our next Gooder-induced goodie box goes out. Gooder box goes out 1st of May, and then if you want that great discount from our friends and our corporate companions, if you want entry fee discounts or even free entry fee into the events we're going to be putting on here, now's the time to sign up. And I guess I'll do that. So go to packfiller.com, click on the Club Packfiller, pick your level of commitment, and get involved. And then you won't hear me talk about it anymore until probably the fall. I know. You're all collective sigh of relief. Jack Broadhead, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
I love how you say that. That chair is yours. That's your stool. Yeah. If somebody sits there, I'll say you're in Jack's chair, motherfucker.
Okay.
Paul Main, thanks for being here, dude.
Thank you.
Jackson Bulger, thanks for being there. Your hair's long.
Soon here.
I'll be there next week.
Your hair's long, dude. You need a haircut.
I know. I said before the show started, I was like, man, my hair looks really long today.
It does.
I'll get one next week.
Okay. And to you, everybody, thanks for listening online. Thanks for listening live, or thanks for listening wherever you happen to be. If you're on your bike, watch out. There are cars out there, right? Okay, that's it. Talk to you guys next week.
Smells like dinner.
Yep.